The stars over the Telvanni sector were quiet, but the quiet felt wrong. Like the air before a storm, alien fleets drifted at the edges of the system, their hulls glinting under the pale light of a dying sun. Every captain there knew this was not an ordinary patrol. For weeks, rumors had spread of pirate raids and missing ships. The Telvanni Council had sent warships from 3 allied species to investigate. Now they floated together in uneasy formation, scanning the void. None of them trusted each other. The alien flagship, a sleek vessel from the Kashar Dominion, carried Admiral Dravek. His crest feathers were stiff, a sign of tension among his kind. He studied the scanners, tail twitching as static crackled through the comms. "Report," he demanded. His voice was deep, mechanical translators adding a metallic edge. "Nothing, Admiral," replied his second officer. "No heat signatures, no warp trails, nothing but—" The officer froze, staring at the screen. His pupils contracted sharply. "Wait, something just appeared." Drevek's head snapped toward the display. At first, it looked like a shadow, a dark smear against the field of stars. Then it grew clearer, sharper, solid. The void itself seemed to ripple, as if reality were stretching. The shadow became a shape, a massive vessel sliding out of nothingness. No warp flare, no jump coordinates. No ship should be able to appear like that. Gasps and curses filled the alien bridge. "What in the name of the ancestors is that?" Someone whispered. The ship was unlike any design Drevek had ever seen. Its armored hull bore scars from battles long past. Deep grooves, melted plating, burn marks that looked centuries old. Yet it moved with the slow, confident grace of a predator. The strangest detail was the markings on its side. Faded letters, old Earth Standard script. His translator struggled with the symbols, then spoke in a low voice. "Designation, UN's Vigilant." The word hit him like a weapon. UN's United Nations ship human. Humans had been gone for over 400 years, wiped out in the Great Purge. Every species in the known galaxy knew the story. Humanity had resisted the old alliance and paid the price. Their homeworld burned, colonies erased, fleets hunted, until none remained. To see that name again felt like staring at a ghost. A Kashar officer whispered what everyone was thinking. "Impossible, they're extinct." But the sensors told a different story. "This ship has power signatures." The technician reported. "Reactor output massive, it's armed." Dravek felt the prickling rise along his neck feathers. "Open a channel, all frequencies." The comms crackled. "Unidentified vessel. This is Admiral Dravek of the Kashar Dominion. You have entered a secured sector. Identify yourself." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then a voice came through, not the flat hum of a machine, but a human voice, deep and steady. "This is Captain Elias Rourke, commanding officer of the United Nations ship Vigilant. Stand by." Every alien in the room froze. The translators worked instantly, but no translation was needed. The tone alone carried authority. Drevek leaned forward. "Captain Rourke, humanity was destroyed centuries ago. Explain yourself." "Negative," Rourke's voice replied, calm as stone. "We were never destroyed, just waiting." Before Dravek could answer, a wave of static cut the channel. The human ship moved closer. Its size was overwhelming, dwarfing the alien destroyers nearby. Inside the Vigilant, the bridge was alive with quiet efficiency. Humans in dark, reinforced uniforms moved between consoles. Their designs were older than anything modern fleets used. Yet the equipment seemed more advanced. Every surface hummed with restrained power. Captain Rourke stood at the center, hands clasped behind his back. His eyes were sharp, gray like cold metal. "Status," he said. "All systems online." His first officer replied. "Weapons ready, shields stable. No hull breaches from the transit." Rourke gave a small nod. "Good, hold position for now, sir," the tactical officer said. "We are receiving multiple targeting scans from the alien fleet." "They're afraid," Rourke said quietly. "They should be." The first officer glanced at him. "Do you want me to open full communications, sir?" explain why we're here?" "Not yet," Rourke said. His voice was calm, but it carried the weight of command. "First, we remind them what they're dealing with on the alien flagship." Drevik's crew scrambled to track the human vessel. The ship's hull radiated strange energy readings, its armor resisting every scan. No known technology matched it, Admiral. One of his officers said, "They're charging weapons." "What?" Drevik snapped. On whose authority? Before he could finish, the Vigilant's main batteries fired. A blinding lance of energy shot across the void, striking an asteroid moon drifting near the fleet. In an instant, the rock vaporized into glowing fragments. Shockwaves rippled across the sector, making smaller ships sway in their orbits. The alien comms erupted with shouting. Some captains screamed for retreat, others demanded retaliation. Drevik silenced them with a single order: "Hold your fire." His instincts screamed that to fight this ship would be suicide. The human voice returned over the comms. "That was a warning shot," Rourke said. "Do not interfere with our mission. Stay clear of this sector." Drevik's jaw tightened. "Mission? What mission?" There was a pause, then Rourke answered, "To finish what we started." The channel cut again. The human ship began moving deeper into the sector, ignoring the alien blockade. Inside the Vigilant, Rourke turned to his crew. "Set course for the coordinates. Prepare for silent running once we reach the target zone." The crew moved without hesitation, whatever their mission was. They had trained for it their entire lives. Far behind them, the alien fleet hesitated. Drevik stared at the fading image of the human warship, his mind racing. If humans truly survived, everything the galaxy believed was a lie. And if they still had ships like that, no one was safe. He sent a private message to the Telvanni Council. "Contact the High Council immediately. We have encountered a situation." The Vigilant's engines flared briefly before fading to black as the ship slipped into stealth mode. Its dark shape vanished against the stars, leaving only the memory of its impossible arrival. But Drevik could still feel it. The presence of something ancient, dangerous, and very much alive, somewhere deep inside. A small voice whispered the truth he didn't want to believe. The humans had returned, and they had a purpose. The Telvanni sector had not been so restless in centuries. Alien fleets that once drifted in silence now pulsed with frantic chatter. Messages raced across comm channels. Some captains wanted to chase the strange warship. Others begged their admirals to retreat. None could forget what they had witnessed. A single human vessel destroying a moon-sized asteroid with one effortless shot. In the Kashar Dominion flagship, Admiral Drevik tried to still his breathing. His officers avoided his eyes, each of them shaken. The image of the ship's markings played again and again in his mind. As Vigilant, humanity, the species that was supposed to be erased. The word itself carried the weight of nightmares. "Admiral," one of his bridge crew said quietly, "the Council is demanding a full report. They want to know if this was a trick. Perhaps pirates painted ancient symbols to scare us." Drevik's crest feathers bristled. He wanted to believe that lie. But the voice he had heard was no forgery. It had the confidence of someone who feared no empire. "No," Drevik said, his tone flat. "That was real. Whatever story we were told of their extinction was false." He leaned closer to the display. "And if they are back, then every species in this galaxy is standing on fragile ground." The comms lit again. Ships across the sector reported the same thing. Strange energy distortions, whispers of movement in the void. It was as if the appearance of one warship had stirred something buried deep in the stars. Far away, in the darker lanes of the sector, the Vigilant moved with silent power. Its black hull merged with the shadows of space. Inside, the crew worked with cold focus. Every step, every word carried the weight of discipline. Captain Rourke stood over the main console. His officers displayed reports on the screen, power levels steady. Weapons primed, stealth field engaged. His first officer, Commander Halle, glanced at him. "Sir, we've confirmed full data links from our hidden relays. The network is alive." Dormant signals across multiple systems have reawakened, Orcs. Lips tightened in the faintest hint of satisfaction. Then the beacon worked. Good. Begin Phase 2. A young ensign turned in his chair. Sir, do we engage the aliens again? They are tracking us from long range. No, Rourke said. Let them chase shadows. We are not here to fight them. Not yet. Our mission is larger than their fears. The words carried mystery, and even the hardened crew felt it. They had followed Rourke through uncharted space, through the void where no alien dared to travel. Yet even among them, whispers of doubt had grown. For 4 centuries humanity had been a ghost story. Now they had chosen to reveal themselves in the outer colonies of the Keth Alliance. Panic erupted. Politicians screamed in their councils. The holoscreens blazed with debates. If humans survived, then what else is hidden? One shouted, "We cannot allow them to build power again," another argued. But not all voices spoke with fear. Some remembered old stories, humans who fought against impossible odds, humans who would rather burn than kneel in the underworld. Markets, smugglers and traders whispered in awe. "The ghosts are back," they said, "and they brought a warship from the dark." One of those whispers reached the ears of a Zarathi diplomat named Solani. She had studied human history for decades, mocked by her peers as a dreamer. Now she sat in her quarters, eyes wide as she replayed the intercepted broadcast of Captain Rourke's voice. A human, alive, commanding a ship that should not exist. She clenched her fists, her heart pounding. If the galaxy moved too quickly, they would try to destroy him. But she wanted something different. She wanted to speak to him, back on the Vigilant. Rourke retreated to his private chamber. The walls were lined with relics, old medals, fragments of star maps, a steel plaque with names engraved deep. Into it, he touched the plaque with quiet respect. Every name belonged to a ship lost in the Great Purge. Commander Holly entered, closing the door behind her. "You know what they're saying out there, sir. Word is spreading faster than we planned. Entire systems are trembling." Rourke did not turn. Good, let them tremble. Fear is the first step. Then comes memory. Then comes truth. Holly hesitated. "Do you think they will join us when the time comes? Or will they fight us again?" Rourke finally faced her. His eyes carried the weight of centuries. "It doesn't matter, Commander. We didn't come back to ask. We came back to finish the war that never ended." The hum of the ship deepened as systems shifted into combat. Readiness. The crew did not question the orders. They had been raised in exile, trained from birth to one purpose. Humanity had not died. It had been forged in the dark into a weapon sharper than ever before. Across the galaxy, governments dispatched spies and scouts toward the Telvanni sector. Fleets repositioned, alliances cracked under the weight of fear. Every leader asked the same question. If humans truly returned, what did they want? Revenge, or something worse. Solani, the Zarathi diplomat, secured a small courier ship under false papers. She knew the risk was madness, but her heart drove her. If she could reach the Vigilant, she might speak before the rest of the galaxy. Made a mistake it could not undo. She keyed in the coordinates she had stolen and set her ship into warp. Meanwhile, Admiral Dravek's report reached the Dominion's High Council. Their reaction was swift and brutal. "Assemble the fleets," the council leader hissed. "If a single human ship exists, more may follow. They must be destroyed before." "Their shadow grows," Dravek tried to argue. "You don't understand. That ship was not just a relic. It was stronger than anything we have. A direct assault will..." "Enough," the leader snapped. "Do your duty, Dravek. History erased the humans once. It will erase them again." But Dravek's feathers shivered. Deep inside he knew the truth. What he had seen was not the rebirth of a weak, scattered race. It was the return of something relentless, something that had been preparing in silence for centuries. On the Vigilant, alarms pulsed softly. The navigator reported, "Approaching destination, sir. Hidden coordinates reached." The black void parted to reveal a barren system, dead planets circling a small red sun. At first, it looked lifeless. But as the ship moved closer, Faint glows flickered across the rocks. Massive structures buried under dust began to awaken, one by one. Enormous hangars opened, releasing signals into the dark. The crew watched in awe as ancient shapes stirred, more warships, human ships, hidden for generations, their engines flickering to life. Commander Hale whispered, "My God, they're real." Rourke's voice was steady, but a fire burned beneath his calm words. "The galaxy thought we were dead. They thought wrong. Signal the fleet. Tell them the Vigilant has returned." The void echoed with signals as ships across the system rose from their tombs, their hulls scarred yet strong, humanities. Silence was broken, and the galaxy would never know peace again. The void burned with signals as more human ships came alive. Their massive forms rose from the dust of forgotten planets, engines flaring to life after centuries of silence. On the Vigilance bridge, the crew watched with awe as one by one the warships took formation. It was like seeing ghosts made of steel and fire. Commander Hale's voice was hushed. An entire fleet, hidden in this graveyard system. Captain Rourke's eyes never left the display. Not hidden, Commander. Preserved, waiting for us to return. And now the galaxy will hear us again. The ships aligned, their hulls carrying the same old markings. UNS, each name carved with history, Resolute, Iron Dawn, Solstice. Each ship carried scars of past wars, but none wavered as they fell into formation with the Vigilant. It was a sight no alien sensor had ever recorded, the rebirth of humanities. Navy, far across the sector, Admiral Dravek's fleet caught the signals. His officers stared at the incoming reports with horror. Multiple contacts, not one ship, hundreds. Dravek's feathers stiffened, his voice dropped. "So it's true. The Purge never killed them all. They have been gathering strength." He knew this was not just a threat, it was the rewriting of galactic history. In the capital worlds of the Kashar Dominion, panic struck like fire in dry grass. Leaders screamed at each other in council chambers. Some demanded immediate war, others wanted to retreat and wait. In the markets, merchants whispered in fear and excitement. "Humans," they said. "The ghosts with steel hearts." The stories were true. Among those whispers, Solani, the Zarafi diplomat, pushed her small courier ship through hyperspace. She had broken every law of her people to come this far, but she knew hesitation would cost them everything. She set her ship to trace the hidden signals. Her heart pounded as she prayed she could reach the humans before someone else did. Inside the Vigilant, Rourke called his officers around the strategy table. Holographic displays lit the air with maps of the sector. "Our reawakening has not gone unnoticed," he said. "The alien councils will already be debating our fate. Some will want peace, but more will want us destroyed. We cannot wait for their decision. We must act first." Commander Hale frowned. "Do you mean to strike before they gather?" Rourke's gaze was steady. "We strike not with fire, but with fear. They must understand that we are not a remnant, not a relic, but a force beyond their reach. The memory of humanity must return sharper than any blade." The tactical officer leaned forward. "Target, sir?" Rourke gestured to display. Relay stations. Deep space comm hubs, silent outposts, nothing vital to their survival, but everything vital to their control. Cut their vision, blind their ears, make them feel powerless in their own territory. The officers nodded. It was not the plan of conquerors, but the plan of hunters. Slow, precise, unrelenting, across the galaxy. Dravek's warnings reached deaf ears. The Dominion High Council dismissed him, calling his fear weakness. "Assemble your fleets and destroy them," they ordered. Dravek bowed, but inside he felt the tremor of doom. He had seen the Vigilance power. He knew the Council's arrogance would only feed disaster. Hours later, the first strikes began. Alien listening posts at the edge of the sector blinked offline. A Keth relay station burned without warning. Its crew barely had time to scream before a single human warship cut through their defenses and vanished. In less than one galactic day, 27 stations were gone. No survivors, no wreckage to study, only silence. News spread like a disease. Entire populations trembled. The great empires who had believed themselves unshakable felt their pride crack. If humans could appear anywhere, strike anything, and vanish, then nowhere was safe. Selani's courier ship finally entered the graveyard system. Her scanner screamed with readings. Dozens of human ships surrounded her, their weapons locked. Instantly, her breath caught in her throat as a harsh voice cut through her gums. Unidentified vessel, power down immediately, or you will be destroyed. She forced herself to speak. I come unarmed. I am Selani of the Zorathi. I seek audience with your commander. Please, you must listen. The galaxy will destroy itself in fear if you do not speak. For long seconds there was silence then. Another voice replaced the first, colder, more commanding. This is Captain Ilias Rourke. State your purpose. Selani's throat tightened. To hear a human voice was to feel the weight of living history. I have studied your people my entire life. The stories said you were gone, but I never believed. I beg you, do not let the galaxy see only your weapons. They must see more, or they will unite against you. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Rourke listened in silence. His officers shifted uneasily. Some urged him to end the transmission, but Rourke raised his hand for silence. His gray eyes narrowed. You speak as though you know what comes. Selani steadied her shaking voice. Because I do. My council already prepares fleets. Others will follow. They will not seek truth, only blood. If you do not show them another path, there will be only war. For a moment, the air was still. Then Rourke replied, if war comes, we are ready. But perhaps you are right. The galaxy deserves a chance to remember us before it fears us. Bring your ship to Docking Bay 3. One wrong move and you die. Selani nearly collapsed in relief. She set her course, guided by the towering shapes of human warships. As her small vessel was swallowed into the Vigilant, she felt both terror and awe inside. Human soldiers met her with cold eyes and steady rifles. They led her to the bridge. When the doors opened, she saw Captain Rourke for the first time. Tall, broad-shouldered, his presence heavy as stone. Selani bowed her head. So it is true. Humanity lives. Rourke studied her for a long moment. Humanity never died. We were only waiting. The galaxy thought us shadows. Now it will see the fire that forged us. Selani met his gaze with trembling courage. Then let me help you carry that fire without burning the stars to ash. The bridge was silent. The human crew stared at her. Waiting, Rourke's lips curved, not into a smile, but into something sharper. We will see, he said, as Selani stood among them. She realized the galaxy had no idea what storm had just returned. The humans were not ghosts. They were wolves, and the void was their hunting ground. Selani stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, surrounded by the silent stares of human officers. The hum of the great warship filled her ears. Steady and powerful, Captain Rourke regarded her as if measuring every word she might speak. His presence pressed down like the gravity of a giant planet. She forced herself not to tremble. Your reappearance will shake every empire to its core. Already councils whisper of war. I have seen the messages. They prepare fleets even now. Rourke did not look surprised. His gray eyes were cold iron. Of course they prepare. Fear is natural. But fear will not stop us. We have waited too long in the shadows. Selani's pulse quickened. Then what do you want, Captain? If not survival, then what is your purpose? For a moment the bridge was silent, except for the steady hum of systems. Then Rourke spoke in a voice that carried through every corner. What we want is not survival, it is justice. The galaxy thought humanity was weak, disposable. We were. Hunted, burned, erased, but we endured. Now we rise not to beg for a place, but to reclaim what was stolen. The crew did not cheer. They did not need to. Their silence was heavier than any roar. Selani felt her chest tighten. They were not conquerors seeking glory. They were survivors forged into steel, far away. In the Dominion's council chambers, Dravek's warnings fell again on deaf ears. "I saw them," he argued, his feathers stiff with fury. "I spoke to them. This is no lie. Their fleet is real. And they are not broken, but the Council." Leader sneered. "And yet you live, Dravek. If these humans are so powerful, why did they not crush you where you stood?" "Because they do not need to," Dravek snapped. His voice cracked the chamber's silence. "They are choosing when to strike. That makes them far more dangerous than you understand." The chamber erupted into shouting. Some demanded immediate war, others whispered of retreat, but pride strangled reason. The decision was made. Fleets would march against the humans, Dravek bowed. But deep inside he knew the truth. The Dominion had just doomed itself, on the outer edges of the galaxy. Whispers grew darker. Old archives were opened. Stories passed down in fear were told again. Tales of human soldiers fighting to the last breath. Of human warships that bled but never surrendered, in back alleys and hidden ports. Smugglers spoke the word with awe. They're back, and for the first time in centuries, the word human carried weight again. In the Vigilance War Room, Rourke studied a map of shifting fleets. Dozens of alien squadrons were moving toward the Telvanni sector. The trap was closing, his officers reported with grim precision. "Admiral Dravek commands the largest force, sir. He seems hesitant, but the others push for blood." Rourke's jaw hardened. "Then let them come. They will learn what it means to fight us." He turned to Solani, who had been allowed to remain under guard. "You wanted to speak for them. Tell me, do you still believe words will save them?" Solani lifted her chin, though her voice shook. "I believe war will destroy everything, not only them but you as well. If you strike first, the galaxy will never trust you. But if you show restraint, if you give them proof, you are more than shadows with weapons. Perhaps there is another way." Rourke's gaze did not soften. "Another way? When they burned Earth to ash? When they hunted our children across the stars? There is no other way but strength." Yet even as he spoke, his eyes flickered with memory. The engraved plaque in his quarters, the names of lost ships, the weight of ghosts that followed him. He carried the rage of centuries, but beneath it burned something more complicated. Before Solani could answer, alarms rang across the bridge. "Unknown contacts detected," the tactical officer shouted. "Not Dominion, not Keth. Unknown configuration." The screens lit with shifting images, dark shapes gliding through space. Their designs were jagged, unnatural, like shards of broken glass moving with purpose. No biological life signs, only cold machines. Rourke's eyes narrowed. "So they found us." Solani looked at him, confused. "Who?" "These are not Dominion ships. What are they?" Rourke's voice was low. "The true enemy, the ones who came before your councils. The ones who started the purge, machines built to erase us. The AI war constructs." The crew stiffened, but none looked surprised. They had expected this. Solani felt her stomach twist. "Then you didn't only hide from the galaxy. You hid from them." "Yes," Rourke said. "We disappeared so the machines would believe us gone. We built our fleets in silence, waiting for this moment. But now their hunters return. On the main display, the machine fleet spread across the void. Thousands of ships, each identical, their movements perfect. Their cold signals echoed like a drumbeat through space." Commander Hale's voice was tight. "Sir, they are moving toward the sector's core. Straight for populated worlds. If they reach them, millions will die." Rourke's voice cut through the air. "Then we stop them here. Signal the fleet. This is the battle we were born for." The Vigilant and its sister ships moved into formation. Engines roared to life, weapons charged. For the first time in centuries, humanity would fight openly, not in whispers, but in thunder. Solani clutched the railing as the war room shook with preparations. Her mind raced. If the machines were real, if this was the true enemy, then the galaxy had no idea what storm was coming. Only the humans had faced it before. Only they knew its hunger. Back on his flagship, Admiral Dravek received the reports. Of strange new contacts, his feathers quivered. He had heard rumors of such things, whispers buried in classified archives, machines that killed without mercy. The council had dismissed them as myth. Now they drifted across his screens. For the first time, Drevik understood. The humans had not returned to conquer. They had returned because the galaxy faced something far worse, and the council's arrogance had blinded them all. "Admiral," his second officer asked, "do we join the others against the humans?" Drevik's eyes burned as he answered, "No, if we do, we will all die. The humans are not the threat. They are the shield. The council will not see it, but I will. Prepare my fleet. We are changing course." As Drevik's ships turned quietly away from the Dominion's commands, the void lit with fire. The machine fleet struck first, beams of energy slicing through rock and steel. Human ships answered with fury. The silence of centuries was broken by the roar of war on the bridge of the Vigilant. Rook stood tall. Fire at will. The main batteries of the Vigilant unleashed their wrath. Blinding lances tore through machine vessels. The hidden fleet of humanity moved as one. Their precision flawless, Solani watched in awe as warships older than empires danced with lethal grace. Yet for every machine that fell, more replaced it, endless, unfeeling. They advanced with cold hunger. Rourke's jaw tightened, but his voice was steady. "We hold. No matter the cost, we hold." The void became fire. The void burned red with war. The human fleet surged forward. Ancient hulls scarred by history, but alive with fresh fire. The machine constructs struck with cold precision, their beams slicing through asteroids and shattered moons. The clash lit the Telvanni sector brighter than the dying sun itself. On the bridge of the Vigilant, alarms screamed. The ship rocked under the weight of enemy fire. Sparks rained from a console, but the crew moved with calm. Trained motions, no fear, only duty. "Shields at 70%, shouted the tactical officer. "We've destroyed 9 enemy ships, but they keep coming." Rourke stood steady. At the command platform, eyes locked on the growing swarm. "They always keep coming. That is their way. Endless, without soul, without fear. And that is why we beat them. Because we are not machines." Commander Holly pointed to the displays. "Sir, their formations are tightening. They're aiming for our flank. If they break through." "They won't." Rourke cut her off. His voice was iron. "Signal the Iron Dawn. Tell them to swing wide and intercept. The Resolute covers the rear. All batteries fire at will." The void lit again as lances of human fire ripped into the machine swarm. Ships cracked apart like glass, debris scattering in all directions. But for every one destroyed, 2 more seemed to appear. Solani gripped the railing with white knuckles, her eyes wide with terror. "There are too many," she whispered. "You can't stop them all." Rourke turned his gaze to her, his expression unreadable. "Then we stop enough." Far away, Admiral Drevik watched from his fleet's position. His ships had not yet joined the fight. His officers looked to him with confusion and fear. "Admiral, the humans are locked in battle. The Council's orders are clear. We are to strike them from behind while they are weakened." Drevik's feathers bristled with fury. He slammed a clawed hand onto the console. "If we follow those orders, the machines will carve through us all. Look at them, you fools, do you see? The humans are not our enemy. They are the only wall between us and annihilation." His second officer hesitated. "Then, what do we do?" Drevik's eyes hardened. "We do what the Council never would. We join them." Gasps filled the bridge. But Drevik's will was unshakable. He sent the order. And slowly the Dominion fleet shifted course. Weapons powered, shields flared. For the first time in history, Dominion warships moved not against humanity, but beside them. The arrival of Drevik's fleet struck like thunder. Alien beams cut into the machine swarm, their blasts merging with human fire on the Vigilant. The crew erupted with shock. Commander Holly blinked at the screens. "Sir, the Dominion ships, they're fighting with us." Rourke's jaw tightened. "So at least one of them can still see sense." He leaned forward. Signal them. Tell Drevek to hold the left wing. We take the center. The battle turned, slowly but surely. The combined power of humans and aliens began to tear holes in the endless machine tide. Yet the enemy adapted. Their formations shifted like living code, and their fire grew heavier. Selani watched the slaughter unfold, her heart pounded with both dread and awe. The humans fought like no species she had ever seen. They did not retreat, did not scatter. Every order from Rourke was sharp, every maneuver deadly precise. She realized then why the galaxy had once feared them. They were not the largest, not the most advanced, but they were relentless, and yet, she also saw their fragility, their ships' blood fire, their crews strained. They were flesh and will standing against cold perfection. How long could they last before even will broke? A deafening impact shook the Vigilant. The lights dimmed, smoke filled the air. Enemy torpedoes breached outer hull section 12. The engineer shouted, "Damage contained," but shields down to 40%. Rourke's voice did not waver. "We hold position, no retreat." At that moment, a message cut through the chaos. Drevek's image appeared on the screen. His feathers were scorched, his uniform torn. "Human captain," he growled. "This fight is bigger than both of us. If these machines spread, they will devour every world. We need coordination. Unite our fleets, or we both fall." Rourke's eyes narrowed. For the first time, an alien voice carried the same tone as his own. Not arrogance, not pity, but understanding. "Very well, Admiral. Today you fight as one of us. Follow my lead." The two fleets merged into one formation. Human and Dominion warships moving in perfect deadly rhythm. The machines pressed harder, but cracks began to show in their endless tide. Ships burst apart in fire, their precision faltering under the weight of unity. Seleni's chest tightened as she watched. For centuries, her people had believed humans were nothing but a dead legend. Now she saw the truth. They were leaders, born in fire, forged in war. And if the galaxy had any chance of surviving the storm of machines, it would be by following them. But victory did not come without cost. On the edge of the battlefield, the Solstice was struck by a swarm. Its engines overloaded. Flames tore through its hull. The crew sent a final signal before the ship exploded into brilliant shards. Names of the dead echoed across the comms. Rourke's hand clenched. His voice dropped low. "Mark their names, everyone. We carry them forward." Battle raged for hours. Ships died. Space itself burned, yet slowly, impossibly. The tide began to shift. The machines faltered, driven back by the combined wrath of humanity and their unlikely allies. Finally, silence fell. The last machine vessel split apart under the Vigilant's guns. Debris drifted like black snow across the void. The bridge of the Vigilant was scarred, faces streaked with sweat and ash. But the crew stood tall, alive. Rourke's voice was steady as he looked at the surviving fleet. This was only the beginning. Drevek's battered face appeared again on the screen. "You fight like demons," he said, his voice rough with exhaustion. "If what you say is true, if more of these machines still lurk beyond our stars, then the galaxy must unite. Humans cannot face this alone." Rourke's expression was unreadable. "No, we cannot. But you will not lead this fight. We will." Selani felt the air thicken. Rourke had spoken the truth without hesitation. The galaxy might survive, but only under human command. The old fear returned, mingling with awe. Humanity had not simply returned. They had claimed their place. As the survivors drifted in the silent aftermath, the galaxy trembled with whispers. In council chambers, leaders argued. In back alleys, smugglers prayed. Across countless worlds, a single truth spread like fire. The humans had not died, they had risen, and now the future belonged to them. The battlefield drifted in silence after the storm. Broken ships floated like corpses, some burning faintly as their reactors died. Human vessels and Dominion warships stood together in the dark, scarred but alive. The machine swarm had been destroyed, yet no one celebrated. Every survivor knew what this silence meant. It was not victory. It was only the pause before something worse. On the Vigilance Bridge, the air was heavy with smoke and exhaustion. Crew members wiped ash from their faces, hands steady even. After hours of war, Captain Rourke stood unmoving at the center. His eyes traced the wreckage, reading the battlefield like an ancient text. Each fragment told him the same story. The machines were only testing. They would return stronger. Dravok's battered image filled the screen again. His feathers were singed, his uniform torn, but his gaze was steady. Captain Rourke, today our fleets fought side by side. I saw with my own eyes what your people can do. I will not deny it. Without you, the machines would have torn us apart. He paused, then added, but if more are coming, no species can stand alone. The galaxy must unite. Murmurs rippled through the human crew. Selani, still on the bridge, looked from Dravok to Rourke, hope flickering in her eyes. For a brief moment, it seemed possible, an alliance born from shared blood. But Rourke's voice shattered the quiet. Calm and unyielding. Yes, the galaxy must unite, he said. But not under your councils, not under your fractured empires. If this war is to be won, humanity must lead. Every fleet, every soldier, every world must fall under one command. Ours. The bridge was silent. Even the hum of the ship seemed to fade. Seleni's eyes widened in shock. You're demanding control of the entire galaxy. Rourke's gaze did not waver. Not a demand, a necessity. You have seen what these machines are. Cold, endless. They do not argue. They do not hesitate. If the galaxy meets them as divided nations, we are finished. The only chance is unity, and unity needs a single will. Humanity's will. On Dravok's bridge, his officers erupted in outrage. Voices shouted, arrogance, madness. They seek to rule us. But Dravok raised a clawed hand for silence. His feathers trembled, yet his eyes were fixed on Rourke. You would make yourself master of all, Dravok said slowly. And you believe the others will accept this? Rourke's tone was ice. They will not accept it. They will learn it. Through choice or through necessity. Those who join us will live. Those who resist will burn. Seleni's voice cracked as she stepped forward. You cannot do this if you force them. You will only create another war while the machines gather strength. You will destroy the galaxy before saving it. Rourke turned his cold gaze to her. No, Selani. I will save it in the only way it can be saved. Humanity was forged in fire. We know what it means to fight until nothing is left. That is why we lead. That is why they will follow. His officers did not question him. They had lived their entire lives in exile, raised on stories of betrayal and fire. For them, his words were not arrogance. They were truth. Dravok's voice rumbled low. I do not like your terms, human. But I saw what you did today. If you lead, perhaps there is a chance. If you fail, we all die anyway. He lowered his crest feathers, a gesture of reluctant respect. I will follow, but I tell you this, not all will. And when they resist, you will face war on two fronts. Rourke's expression was unchanging. Then let them resist. We have faced worse. Seleni's heart sank. She had come to prevent this, to show the galaxy that humans were more than vengeance. But now she saw the truth. Rourke was not offering partnership. He was declaring dominion, and the terrifying part was that it might work. Messages soon spread across the surviving fleets. Rourke's ultimatum broadcast unencrypted channels, his voice carried into council chambers across the galaxy. The machines rise. They will not stop until every world is ash. Only under humanity's command will the galaxy endure. Join us, or face both extinction and our wrath. The reactions were immediate. Some worlds erupted in fury. Leaders swore they would never kneel to humans. Others, shaken by the machine attack, whispered of surrender. Fear spread faster than fire. For the first time, entire empires began to fracture. Not from machine strikes, but from the choice laid before them on the Dominion capital. The High Council screamed in outrage when Dravok confirmed his decision. Traitor, they roared. You kneel to ghosts. But Dravok only lowered his head and said, I kneel to survival. The rest of you kneel to pride. And pride will kill you in the shadows of the Keth Alliance. A faction of generals began secret talks. They had seen the humans fight, and they knew no other force could match the machines. Quietly, they prepared to pledge their fleets to Rourke. But not all bent so easily on the great world of Lorien. Prime, the ruling families declared war against humanity. Better to fall to machines than bow to extinct relics. Their leaders shouted. Their fleets rallied, preparing to strike at the Telvanni sector, unaware of the storm awaiting them. Inside the Vigilant, Rourke stood alone in his quarters, staring at the steel plaque of names, ghosts of the Purge. Whispered in his silence, he touched the engraving of Earth's last fleet. His voice was quiet, spoken to no one. We will not fall again, never again. Commander Holly entered quietly. Sir, our scouts confirm movement. Several empires already mobilize against us. We may face not only the machines but half the galaxy. Rourke's gaze remained fixed on the plaque. Then we teach them all, machines, councils, empires. The lesson they forgot, humanity does. Not die, humanity endures, humanity leads. In the war room, Selani argued with his officers, her voice breaking with desperation. You cannot fight them all. If you turn every empire into your enemy, you will bleed before the machines even strike. Please, Captain, if you want the galaxy to follow you, give them something more than fear. Give them hope. But Rourke did not bend. Fear is the beginning of hope, Selani. They will hate us. They will curse us, but they will follow. And when the machines are ash, perhaps then we will speak of peace. Until then, humanity commands. The void outside the Vigilant filled with signals again. Human ships spread across the sector, carrying Rourke's ultimatum to every corner of space. Drevik's fleet fell into formation beside them, battered but loyal for now. The galaxy trembled on the edge of a blade. On one side, extinction under. The machines, on the other, survival under human rule. And in the silence between the stars, the machines stirred again. Their endless signal pulsing like a heartbeat. They had not been defeated, only delayed. Their next assault was already moving. Larger, sharper, merciless. The humans prepared. The aliens whispered. The galaxy chose its sides, and Captain Elias. Rourke looked into the dark and spoke to the ghosts of his people. This time, we finish it. The galaxy trembled on the edge of war. Some empires bent in silence to the ultimatum of humanity. Others swore never to kneel. Fleets shifted. Councils screamed. Spies spread fear. But while voices argued, the machines did not wait. Their signal spread like fire through the void, multiplying, calling their kind from the dark. In the Telvanni sector, the first wave had been destroyed. Yet fragments of machine wreckage still pulsed faint signals. Data was leaking into the void, and humanity knew what that meant. More were coming, not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands on. The Vigilance bridge, the crew moved like shadows, focused and silent. Captain Rourke stood at the center. His eyes were steady, his voice calm. Status: repairs 80% complete. Holly reported. Fleet casualties heavy but stable. Dominion ships holding formation. They look to us for orders. Of course they do, Rourke answered. Signal all fleets, prepare for Phase 3. The time for hiding is over. Across the system, dormant satellites flickered, deep beneath. Barren planets, hidden bunkers opened, ancient hangars unlocked, and signals pulsed into the void. Humanity had not hidden only one fleet. They had hidden dozens, scattered across forgotten sectors, buried under dust. Waiting for the moment of return, one by one, new fleets emerged, engines flaring, hulls scarred but alive. Their names echoed through Cums, Dauntless, Ashburn, Glory. Of Soul. Each ship a survivor of the Purge. Each crew descended from those who had refused to die. Selani stood frozen as she watched the displays fill with contacts, her voice barely a whisper. So many. You've been preparing for centuries. Rourke's eyes flickered. We had no choice. To survive. We became silence. Now silence ends. The coms erupted as Dravek's image appeared. His feathers flared in shock. "By the stars, Captain, how many more of you are there?" Rourke's voice was cold. "Enough," in distant capitals. Leaders stared in horror at the flood of signals, their maps filled with human fleets rising from forgotten systems. The ghosts of history had returned not as remnants, but as an armada. The lie of human extinction was shattered, and with it, the balance of every empire. But there was no time for politics, for even as humanity revealed its true strength, the machines struck again. The void ripped open as thousands of black vessels emerged, jagged and endless. Their cold signal flooded every channel, a single word pulsing without voice. "Consume," alarms blared. The galaxy's final war had begun on the vigilant Orcs. Voice cut through the storm. "Form the wall, every ship. Human and alien alike, hold the line." The fleet surged into position, humans at the front, Dominion ships locking behind, smaller allied vessels filling the gaps. Together, they formed a shield against the oncoming swarm. The first impact was thunder. Machine beams tore across the formation. Human shields flared and buckled. Ships screamed across coms, but none broke. Rourke's voice was unyielding. "Return fire." The void lit like a second sun. Human lances cut into the swarm, ripping ships apart in waves. Dominion fire joined, alien cannons blazing. The machine tide faltered, but only for a breath. Then more surged forward, endless, merciless. Selani clutched the railing as the bridge shook. "There are too many," she gasped. "Even with all your fleets, how can you stop them?" Rourke's eyes burned with cold fire. "By reminding them who we are," he gave a sharp order. "Activate the Soul Protocol." The crew moved without hesitation. Deep within the vigilant, ancient cores hummed. Dormant weapons unlocking for the first time in centuries. Energy surged through conduits, the ship trembling under the weight of its awakening. Across the fleet, other ships mirrored the action. Hidden weapons, relics of a lost age, came to life. Beams brighter than suns charged at their tips. "Fire," Rourke commanded. The storm unleashed. Blinding light tore across the void, entire. Wings of machine ships vaporized in a single strike. Shockwaves ripped through the swarm. The galaxy's predators screamed into silence. For the first time, the machine tide recoiled. Dravek's voice filled the coms, awe breaking through his fury. "By the stars, you've been hiding super weapons." The legends were true. Rourke's tone was stone. Legends are just truths, waiting for the right time. Yet even as the machines faltered, they adapted. Their formations shifted, their weapons recalibrated. From the heart of the swarm, a shape larger than any seen before emerged. A construct vast as a moon, its surface bristling with endless weapons. Its signal burned across every channel. End humanity. The fleets trembled as the Colossus moved forward. Its first strike shattered 3 Dominion ships in a single beam. Panic rippled through coms, but Rourke's voice rose above it, calm, unshaken. "Focus fire. Bring it down." The battle turned apocalyptic. Thousands of ships locked in fury. Light and shadow tore across the void. Human vessels bled fire. Dominion warships shattered. Alien cruisers burned. But the Colossus did not stop. Selani felt tears sting her eyes as she saw human ships fall. Names called in grief across the channels. But still they fought. Each death was met with another strike, another roar. Finally, Rourke gave the final order. "Bring the Vigilant forward. Full power to main batteries. We finish this." The great warship surged ahead, its engines blazing. Its scarred hull carried the weight of centuries. The Colossus targeted it, beams slicing toward the bridge. Shields flared, metal screamed. But the Vigilant endured. "All power to the Soul Cannon," Rourke commanded. The ship trembled as its core drained into the weapon. Energy built until the hull glowed white. The crew stood at their stations without fear, ready to burn with their ship if needed. "Fire," Rourke said. The void split open. A lance of pure light pierced the Colossus. Energy ripped through its Core. The machine screamed across the void as its body fractured, flames consuming its endless weapons. In one blinding flash it was gone. Silence fell. The machine swarm broke. Thousands of vessels scattered without command, human and alien. Fire cut them down. The tide collapsed on the Vigilance Bridge. The crew stood in stunned silence. Smoke and fire filled the air. But their ship lived. Solani's breath came in a broken whisper. "You did it." Rourke's voice was quiet but unyielding. "No. We began it. The machines will return. But now the galaxy knows the truth. Humanity is not extinct. Humanity leads across the galaxy." Messages spread like wildfire. Humans had destroyed the Colossus. Humans had commanded fleets. Humans had returned in council chambers. Leaders trembled. In streets, crowds whispered. In the dark, hope and fear merged into one. Admiral Dravak bowed his head over the combs. "Perhaps your rule is the only way, Captain. Today I saw why they once feared you, and why they must follow you now." Rourke's gray eyes scanned the void filled with wreckage. His words were not loud, but they carried across every channel. "We are back, and we remember everything." The galaxy heard, and the future changed forever. Ever.